here is the feature list that I'm going to be covering this morning here as far as new features and enhancements inside of AutoCAD 2023. A lot of these are enhancements to already existing tools, which seems to be the norm over the past several releases, let's say. But we're going to go over the trace command, some of the new features inside of the trace command, the count command, some added features to that. There's some interface enhancements that they've made through the floating windows and the actual drawing and layout tabs itself. We've got a new CUTBASE command. We've added some features to the Polyline command and your MLEADER command. And then as they continue to improve Autodesk in general, collaboration tools, the last two features down here are tied to, collaboration tools. When I say collaboration tools, using web and mobile, to mark up a drawing, open it back up in AutoCAD, and vice versa as well. And also the macro advisor. So as far as the trace command, and some of you probably have used it already, it provides a safe space to provide feedback to a drawing without altering your existing one. It's like tracing paper laid over the drawing. This is collaboration tools. Now you can create traces in desktop and contribute to traces created by others as well. So I can make traces right on my desktop, post that up to a cloud site that I might be collaborating with. They can open it up on their mobile web app, let's say, find the traces that I did. They can add more traces to that. I can mark it back, or I can open it back up right on my desktop, see what changes somebody else's, wants, and then actually do it to the drawing. So you'll see some enhancements on here as well. The count, we can count instances of blocks within a specific area. We have a couple more options now in the count command, like rectangular, polygonal selection areas, objects. You can do the entire model. You can flip-flop back and forth. It just made it easier to actually selecting the objects, in my opinion, with the count command itself. And it's got floating drawing windows. We've always been able to do this. Some of the improvements, if you will, we have an anchored command window that now stays with the active drawing. A floating command window maintains its position. You're going to see when I go into the actual software, I'm kind of old school. I park my command line, down at the bottom. And when you have floating windows, that command stays right where it is. Well, if you float your command line, which probably most people do nowadays, that command line will stay with each floating window. If they overlap, the active drawing displays on top. You can pin these floating drawings so they maintain a position as well. And we have features when you right-click on the title bar now as well. Drawing and layout tabs, not a whole lot going on here, but we'll point out, what changes that they have made. Some of the improvements, it's a little bit more modern look. You're not going to see, huge changes with the modern look, but you will see a little bit different of a change for both the, the drawing and layout tabs. The active tab, your active drawing is always going to be highlighted. The active drawing is checked on for the overflow menu as well, in the overflow menu. The CUTBASE command, this allows us now, if we want to cut objects out of one drawing into another one, we can establish a base point for that cut. Pick your base point, you select your objects, you put them onto the clipboard, and then you can go to a different drawing, start a new drawing, paste it in from there. You have a new feature after you've created a polyline. You're going to have a new grip option where you can extend a vertex, not just add. It adds a new vertex to your polyline extending from the selected end grip. You no longer have to reverse the polyline direction. And as you can see, the way it works now, the existing add vertex option could add the vertex between the end and the previous vertex. It depends on the direction the polyline was drawn. With the new extend grip option, the vertex is always extended from the selected end grip, no matter which direction the polyline was originally drawn. And I'll do an exact example of this inside the software. MLEADER Enhancement. This one's kind of funny. I don't usually do this. I'm going to point this out, but it doesn't quite work yet, as you're going to see. Hopefully they'll have a new update for us with the software where it'll be built in, but there's supposed to be a new option when you're creating your multi-leader, and that is to be able to pick on a piece of text. That's what the option is not. You're not going to see the option when I run the command, but I want to point it out because, again, I think it can be a nice feature, but again, it doesn't quite work yet. Hopefully, like I said, they'll have a updated release posted sometime soon where that will be corrected. Markup and import, markup assist. This is getting to the scary AI phase of AutoCAD. It's actually pretty cool. It uses machine learning to identify markups and provide a way to view and insert revisions with less manual effort. And to take it even a step further, the last category here, the macro advisor. It, it gets used to some commands you might be running and make macro suggestions for you. And it just makes it easier to put the macros that you're using on a list as well, as you're going to see in these last two. And if anybody's not familiar with, macros, it's a way to record commands if you're performing the same functionality again and again and again. It could be in the same drawing or a different drawing. So for those that aren't familiar with it, if I copy an object and then after I copy it, I rotate it a specific degree, I can record those. So the next time it'll copy and rotate it at the specific degree that I want, let's say. So it's actually kind of nice. In these last two, it was difficult for me to put a good example together. So I got together with some folks at Autodesk, and we put a couple of videos together, which I'm going to show you at the end of when I'm done demonstrating inside the software, let's say. All right. Let's go into the software here. And the first one we're going to talk about is the trace command. So as an example, let's say, hypothetically speaking, pretending I created a drawing and posted it up on my cloud site as an example, or the Autodesk one, so somebody has access to it from there. So as an example, I'm going to open up one drawing right now from my web and mobile folder. So like I said, hypothetically speaking, let's say I'm on my phone right now making this change or making this trace. Let's say I'm on my tablet doing it. So I'm going to go to the trace command itself. And as you can see, one has been created in this already. If I pick the trace from here, it'll show me what it is. So I'm creating a trace. This is all about collaboration. I'm telling somebody who's ever ultimately in charge of the real drawing, you know, that somebody needed to add a second computer here. So let's say I go down here and maybe I want to add another computer to the accounting area. So I'm just going to pick create trace. And then from here, you use your AutoCAD knowledge. So like as an example, I'll go to my annotate tab and I'm going to place a revision cloud down. You know, kind of do the same thing from the other one. And then I'll put a piece of text down. Let me change that text style first. And I'll just say, add fourth computer. And when you create these, kind of like a layer or a layout, give them a good logical name as to what they are. So the one that I just created right here, I can right click on it, say rename. And instead of it just saying trace 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 I could call this accounting, just as an example. So whoever I'm collaborating with will know that, okay, it must be talking about there's something going on in the accounting area of the drawing. So now it makes more sense. So when I'm done, I'm going to close the trace. I'm going to save and close the drawing. Actually, let me do a zoom extents. So I just did that again on my tablet, on my phone, whatever. Now I want to, you know, collaborate with the person that actually would be working on the drawing back at the office, whatever. So I'm going to say this time open, like I just did, but I was, you know, hypothetically speaking, I was on my mobile or web device. So now I open it up from my actual computer. And then when I go back to the trace command, here it is. I could say, let's go to the accounting one. And what's nice about this as well is I can turn or toggle the trace off. And I'm not really toggling it off, but now I can actually, you know, see what I have to do in the drawing. So from here, I would go, you know, copy. And, you know, I might give it a specific distance, whatever. I could even extend this, you know, whatever else I would have to do to it. So now when I turn the trace off, the change is complete. I could do something similar. Let me open up a different one. You know, maybe I want to, let me close that down. Maybe I need to extend these walls a certain distance. So once again, collaborate, trace palette. These were from yesterday when I was messing around. I'll create a new one. And again, maybe go back to my revision cloud. And then put another piece of text in here. This is going to be small, I think. Well, let's see. I'll say extend walls. Yeah, should have made that bigger. No big deal. Just scale it real quick. So once again, probably want to rename this. We'll say extend walls. Close the trace down. Save and close the drawing down because again, hypothetically speaking, I just did that from my mobile device. So now I get back to my desktop. Open that drawing up. Go back to the trace command. There's the new one that I added. And now I could come and stretch my walls out, let's say. Notice I didn't turn the background off this time. So nothing works. Now let me go to my stretch command. Make the change. Close the trace down, and I'm good to go. So some nice features there, especially when you're collaborating. You know, everybody's collaborating nowadays, usually in some way, shape, or form. You're going to see a lot of tools pick up on that, basically. A lot of the new feature tools, I should say. I'm just going to close these down. And then I'm going to open up. Let's go back to the building rock. And we're going to talk about the count command. Let me go to my view tab, count command. And as soon as I go into the count command, it automatically defaults to the whole drawing. It's showing me every block that I do have in here. But maybe I want to, you know, narrow that down, change it up a little bit. I'll say count in a specified area here. So basically, Now I've got my options down here. Current area, entire model, an object, or a polygon. Polygonal. Let's say I start by, first of all, I'm just going to draw a polyline. I'm going to draw a rectangle. Let's say from here to here, just arbitrarily, just a polyline. So now I actually go back to the count command, and let's say I pick the object option. Select object as count area of the boundary. So I pick the polyline, and as you can see right now, there's the exact numbers for the polyline itself. Let me close that out. You can also create, let's say, a polyline on the fly by picking the polygonal option here. And now maybe I'll draw a polygon. Let's say I start it here, drag it down to here, over to here, back up to here, hit enter. And now, as you can see, it changes the count. Turn that off. If I do another example here, by default, it tells me to specify first corner point. So this is kind of usually the easiest way that I run this command. I just, wrap a window around the area where I need the count. Kind of the same thing as I just did when I drew the polygon, right? Or, of course, we can do the entire model, which it's defaulting to already, as you can see. So some nice features there. The next topic is the drawing and layout tabs. So as an example here, I'm going to open up a whole bunch of drawings just to fill it out. I'm going to start here and I'm going to go, let's say, all the way down to here. Let's open up all of them. And as you can see, whatever the active layout is, active drawing you have open is highlighted. So if I were to pick this one here, now that one's highlighted. Big house, the one I just had open, is not. And then also, when you go to the stacked list now, at the end of all the tabs, it'll have a check mark next to the one that is active as well. Now, rolling kind of along with that would be your floating drawing windows. So as an example, let's say I go back to the last drawing here, and I'm going to switch it to model space, and I want it floating. And I can take this right off my screen if I want. You can't see the other screens that I have. I have 2 other screens, and put it anywhere I want. And then I'll take another one. Whoop. Actually, let me go to the basement here, and I'll float this one. And then if I go back, there's my big house. And I have the bearing dimension -I open. Now, like I said, I'm old school. If I close these out or if I put them back up on the tab, if you will. Whoop. And I had that one floating as well. All right, doesn't matter. I'm going to take my command line. I'm going to make it floating. So now, let's make this a floating drawing. And notice the command line. It stays with the drawing that you have. So no matter which one I pull out and I have floating, the command line is going to be there every single time. Do another one. So that's kind of nice. Again, you have to have a floating command line in order to get the command to go with each view. If I right click on, you might have noticed me do this already. If I right click on one of these floating ones, I can move it right back to the file tab up top. And then I can also, so I got a couple of floaters open right now. I can pin this. Now when I do pin it, and then I go back to not another floating drawing, but standard outside here, notice that it keeps it in place. Now I'm in this assembly-I drawing right now, which is not floating, but since I pinned it, it's going to stay wherever you park it, plain and simple. Now if I unping it, now it's not going to be on top anymore. And then yeah, I already talked about that. The other one that you know, if you have a couple of floaters, if they overlap, the active drawing is always the one that's on top as well. So those are just some enhancements, once again, to the drawing and layout tabs, the floating drawing windows. The next topic here is our CUTBASE. Before we do that, since I have all these drawings open, let me close them all down. And just work with a couple of drawings. So let me go back to open. I'll go back to my other folder I have set up for the webinar here. And I'll go back to my computer drawing, let's say. And I'm going to, since again, I like to park mine, command line, I'm just going to park it back down below there. So we can now cut objects out of one drawing into another, but also establish a base point for the cut. Couldn't always do that before. So on my home tab, if I go over to the clipboard here, I'm going to say cut with base point. Pick the command. And maybe I want to cut the accounting area out of this drawing and put it into a different drawing. So I'll pick a base point. I'll select the endpoint right here. Then I'll select my objects that I want to cut to the clipboard. Right click or hit enter to exit the command. And now if I start a new drawing, or if I opened up another one, obviously, now I can just say paste and it will default to the base point, as you can see. And if I go back to the other drawing, it has obviously been cut out of here. I'm just going to undo to get that back. And then I can close this other drawing down. And then the next topic that I discussed in the PowerPoint, the Polyline Extend. So just for the heck of it, I'm going to draw a new polyline. I'm going to go from here, let's say to here, let's say over to here, just 2 lines. And if I pick on the polyline itself, and if I hover over this grip here, we always had stretch vertex, add vertex, remove vertex, just like we do on here, just like we do up here. But if I pick it on one of the ends of here, I can extend the vertex. So when I extend the vertex, it's always going to extend from the grip that I select. We no longer have to reverse the polyline direction, let's say. So I could pick, right here as an example. And I still get the option. Extend vertex. Maybe I want to go to here. Hit escape to clear my grips. And as I said before, the existing add vertex option could add the vertex between the end and the previous, but it depended on the direction of the polyline, how it was drawn. With the new extend, the vertex is always extended from the selected grip. So just like if I pick this one instead, it's always extended from that grip. Now this next one, like I said, I'm going to talk about it, but as you can see, as you're going to see, not quite there yet. If I look in this drawing that I'm in right now, piece of M text right there, as you can see. Another one down here. I'll even put a new one in. So the way that this is supposed to work, when I go to my multi-leader command right here, and if I look at the options, I'll just hit my down arrow key on my keyboard. Notice what's missing here is an option for M text. That's what I'm supposed to see right here. So the logic is, I can pick on the piece of M text and then draw the leader to whatever it is that I want to point to. Notice the M text is not one of the options. And I tried pretty hard, thinking I was missing something, but I think there's needs to be an update to the software itself to get this in here, but that's what it's supposed to do. So you should be able to draw a multi-leader by picking on the text first, any of these pieces of text. And then you draw your leader to wherever you want to go. So just look out for that. If you originally install 2023 and you don't see it like me, you know, keep track of your desktop app for updates, and hopefully it'll get updated and implemented. Next topic, this is the first of 2 videos I have, is for the Markup Import and Markup Assist. Again, collaboration tools. Markup Import and Markup Assist use machine learning to identify markups and provide a way to view and insert drawing revisions with less effort. So let me open up this video. Like I said, I got together with the folks at Autodesk, put these together. Hold on just a second. They are up on. So there's the scan. Now we can import. Makes it a lot easier. Now the next one deals with the macro advisor. In this macro, the insights are suggested command macros. As you're going to see, if I go back to the start, and you'll see this in the video right now, we have a new section over here called My Insights. And it's a sequence of commands and system variables that help automate the task you perform while in the software. So as an example, once again, hold on just a sec. So quite a big enhancement for the macros themselves. One thing I forgot to mention, that going back to the multi-leader, is if your MLEADER style, your multi-leader style that you're using has a default text value, the M-text option is not available. And this is where I was scratching my head when I was first trying to use this, because if I look at my multi-leader style itself, you can see that I have no default text here. I don't have it on any of the text that's in the drawing. So again, that's why I was scratching my head when I went to the MLEADER command, trying to be able to, you know, pick on a piece of M text while I don't have any defaults in the style. So again, hopefully they'll have this repaired fairly soon. Okay. I would also suggest to people to take a look at the What's New video that's provided with the software itself. They do a lot of the same stuff I just did, but a little bit quicker. And they talk about, if you're using 3D, some of the video enhancements that are involved in there as well. Other than that, how are the questions doing, Dan?
We only had one, which was they wanted an example of using the pinned option when you're using pinned floating tab, I guess,
Yep.
which was answered. So for that, I gave an example for all to read, but basically, if you have two monitors, you know, you can pin the one tab on the other monitor and maybe reviewing another document, and that way it just doesn't move or, you know, disappear from the screen. It stays up on screen so that you can see, and maybe you want to do a compare or review between two drawings or something like that.
Yeah, great example. Absolutely. And that's probably done a lot when you have, you know, I've got 2 extra screens on mine. I do that quite often, and that makes it nice to be able to ping it. There it is. I can keep an eye on it on one screen while I'm still working on a different drawing on another one. So absolutely.
Yeah, and the one thing I do like about that example is external reference. Oftentimes we collaborate with outside stakeholders and you get new versions of the external reference document. Well, what was different? What was changed? And so this kind of gives you an avenue to be able to compare both side by side without one just disappearing or moving around on the screen.
Yep. All right, I guess it's all you, Ashley.
Okay, well, thank you for the presentation, Greg, and thank you for attending, everyone. Just a reminder that you will receive email tomorrow, which will contain a link for the recording of today's presentation. Also, a short survey will pop up as we close here, and we appreciate you filling that out for us. And I don't see anything else coming in the question panel, so we'll go ahead and close for the day. But again, thank you for attending, and have a great day, everyone.